What was that performance, Tottenham Hotspur? What was that performance, Nuno? All I gotta say is Nunoout. That was absolutely embarrassing. So we've lost 3-0 to Palace, 3-0 to Arsenal, 3-0 to Chelsea, and now 3-0 to Man United. We've lost 1-0 to West Ham in another London derby. Like, this is absolutely embarrassing. There's just no words. You start to look at the team sheet when the lineups release, and you got Ben Davis starting. And after the game, Nuno says he wanted some consistency. One thing I know about Ben Davis is that he's nothing other than inconsistent. He's good sometimes, but he's other times he's horrible. So what is that? Inconsistent. Regulon brings us so much more. He's been one of our best players the whole season, and you decide not to play him. Speaking of inconsistency, you start Giovanni Lo Celso over Tanguy and Dombele, the one guy who can beat our press, the one guy who's, since he's come in, has actually looked positive compared to other midfielders, and you keep him on the bench. Why? What's the reason? Don't know. Did you play Ndombele or Reguilon midweek? No, you play both of these guys in a pretty horrid game. The only positive is that we barely beat Burnley, but it wasn't like we had an amazing performance that you couldn't drop these players. You decided to keep these players and look at the performance we brought. So the first half at the beginning wasn't too bad. We did create some chances. Sonny had some chances, couldn't capitalize. Kane, like usual this season, didn't do anything. Like I said, you should have sold him, didn't sell him. So we don't create anything. We had some chances, didn't score, and then what happens at the end of the first half? Just like the Chelsea game, that happened in the second half, but even though we look kind of positive, we can't finish. And the other team scores first, and then the other team just pounces, and then we just go in a shell, and we can't do anything, and then we just get destroyed. Like we did against Chelsea, like we did against Arsenal, like we did against Palace, and like we did tonight. We've scored 3 goals one time this season, and that was against Newcastle, the worst team in the league. And then we've allowed 3 goals, but this is the fourth time we've allowed 3 goals, and in those games, we scored no goals. So I was kind of on the fence with Nuno out, but what? There's no argument for keeping him in. The football is horrible. We've lost to every big team other than Man City. Our wins were against Wolves on a penalty in the first 10 minutes of the game or something, and then we couldn't do anything for the rest of the game. A Watford lucky, I love you son, but that was a lucky free kick. And then Man City, that game we played good, but that was again first game of the season. I was saying since the summer, sell Harry Kane, man. This guy, I love you, Harry Kane. You're a legend at Spurs, but if a player doesn't want to be there, just like Eriksen didn't want to be there, just sell him. You could have got 150 mil for Kane. You could have brought in another striker. You could have brought in possibly like a Bernardo Silva from Man City. There's no way we'd be worse right now if we didn't have Kane. It'd probably be better because we could have bought another center back, could have got another creative player, and could have got another young striker, Vlahovic from Fiorentina. But that's just me. Then we could have had Conte. You decide to cheap out on Conte. You decide to not give him staff members and bring in Nuno, who we all know his track record. He's just a worse version of Jose. You bring him in, and your expectations are higher for some reason. Even last year, Jose, our biggest problem, in my opinion, was we would score, and then we would just be defensive, and we couldn't hold the lead. But the thing is, at least we would score and take a lead. What are we doing this season? We're just falling behind. Can't even get a shot on goal at home. A shot on goal at home. 0 shots on goal. This football is horrible. It's horrible to watch. At least under Jose at the beginning of the season, we were saying it's creating results. This isn't creating anything. It's just creating depressed fans. So Levy has to go. Nuno definitely has to go. Do I think any of this is happening right now? Unfortunately, no. And I just think Paratici and Levy are just going to say, let's give him time, blah, 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 blah. You know the spiel. He just can do the same thing again. I just saw before. I was just thinking about it. I just tweeted it. Follow me on Twitter, @Rafal23. But I just looked back at it, and basically, Levy's cheaping out has obviously always haunted us, but it's really haunting us right now. Could have had Dybala, got Lo Celso. Could have had Bruno, got Jedson. Could have had Ruben Diaz, got Joe Rodon. I love you, Joe, but Ruben Diaz is one of the best center backs in the league. Could have got Conte, settled for Nuno.